The last thing I wanted to throw your way, this is something I was talking about to one of my friends, and something I'm just super passionate about. Have you heard of something called direct primary care? If you haven't, you're not alone. I think most people haven't. So I'm not going to do this full justice and in gross detail, but basically a normal primary care, the way it works, you come in, you get your insurance checked, and if they accept your insurance, great. They move you in, bill your insurance, you have a co-payment, all that good stuff. And if you don't, then you either pay an absurd amount of money or they just don't see you. And it even when you do have good insurance, you're just kind of herded along. You wait in line a long time, and then you see the doctor, and you see him what, maybe 5 minutes tops, and you just feel like they're constantly in a rush. You never get that great of care, and I'm not really trying to badmouth the doctors here. I think they're just put in a rough situation that their model of business is how do I get as many people in and out through that door as possible? And as a consumer, like, well, did they really listen to me? Did we really get to the bottom of it? I don't know. Are they just pushing prescriptions on me? There's just a lot of questions. So, there's something called direct primary care that operates fundamentally different. There are no regular office type of fees in this structure. The way it works is on a subscription based model. You can think of it kind of like a retainer for an attorney, or if you go the entertainment route, it's like a subscription service that you'd have like a Netflix or Disney Plus or any of these streaming type of sites. So what my family and I what we do is we have a subscription, so to speak, with a doctor here in town. His name is Dr. Rose Kelly. I'll put his stuff down here just in case you're in the area. But there's other direct primary cares around too. I'll put a little locator down in the description to see if you're interested in finding one near you. So they all have the same type of format and they may operate individually a little bit different. But, anyways, the way it works, we pay that one subscription fee and doctors might do it a little bit different. The way ours does, it's a set amount based off of age. So it's something like 0 to 17 is $20 a month. And I don't know this. I'm just throwing numbers out there. 20 to 40 is 40 a month. And 40 to 60 is 80 a month. So on and so forth. And basically, the older you get, the more expensive it gets, which makes sense because typically the older you are, the more health issues you have. But that is the only cost that you pay to see the doctor. For us, at any point, if I am running out of medicine or if I'm just not feeling well, I can text the doctor and we can either set up a time for us to meet or he can prescribe me medication just through the text, or we can set up a phone call. There's just a lot of flexibility there, but I don't have to worry about, oh, how much is that going to be billed? What's the cost going to be? All I pay is that monthly due, which granted, you pay that whether you see the doctor or not. Said they're kind of like on retainer. But the flip side is if you need to use the doctor, you don't have to worry about it. It's already paid for. That's baked in there. Aside from that, the only other payment would be if there's any other services that are needed. Like if I have to get stitches, that's something he can do. Is if I have some type of fall and get my forehead broken open or whatever, and it just needs a few stitches, that's something that he could do. If I need a blood test taken, that's something that they can do too. Get that set up, and I would pay those fees. Which, mind you, I can't guarantee what this will be for everyone else, but the ones my doctor get, the fees are for these services are stupidly lower than what they are at the doctor's office or at the hospital. They get a much, much, much more discounted rate, in part because they're going through cash. There's no insurance exchanged in any of this. You can still have insurance, but this is all cash based. So it takes that third party out of it and it drastically lowers cost and it lowers the time. Things just you don't have to wait for pre-approval for things. You just go and do it. It's super, super convenient. And anyways, it's super predictable. You know what to expect. We combine it with a service called Samaritan Ministries, and I'll include their information down there too. This one is Christian based, so you have to not only profess to be a Christian, but you have to be actively involved, and they do check up on that. So it's not just you check the box, say, yeah, I actually do it. No, like you actually have to put your pastor's information and everything. So it is kind of a more stringent way to get in, but from there, it's you pay a share amount, which think of that like your premium. That stays the same. And if you need to use, um, if you need any reimbursement for anything, you need to use the doctor, go to the hospital or whatever. Like for my wife, for instance, she's using a midwife this go around. And we're doing a home birth, and it's actually the wife of our direct primary care doctor. And anyways, she's already given us the itemized bill for what that will cost. We send that to Samaritans. We're in the process of this right now. Samaritans will review it. Then we will get paid back from Samaritans what that due is. So, anyways, basically what I'm trying to get across here is if you're having a bad time with insurance, you're just so frustrated at of all the bureaucracy and the red tape and just the lack of care that you're getting from some of these places, there are ways to get around that. You have to do a little bit of homework, you have to do some research, but I'll tell you with my direct primary care, I would gladly double the amount of that subscription cost and still do it. It is life changing because you fundamentally approach healthcare differently. When I am at the typical primary care, I try to avoid there because I don't wanna have added cost, and I hate going to the doctor's office, it's a painful experience. So, let me try to limit the amount of time I go there at all possible. Whereas on the direct primary care side, I've already paid for it, so if I need something, why don't I go ahead and just give a text? And sometimes you don't even have to have a time that you go in the office. Sometimes it could just be done over the phone. It might take you 5 minutes, and he's already got that prescription written up for you. So anyways, I'll include that information down below, Dr. Rose Kelly, if you're in the Duncan area. But also, if you are throughout the United States, there is a direct primary care kind of locator type of thing. And I can't guarantee they'll function exactly the same way as my doctor, but the basic premise will be that way. Any direct primary care will kind of be that subscription type of model. So I really, really encourage everybody to look into that. I'll also include Samaritan Ministries, and there's other that's called a health sharing network. There's other health sharing networks out there too, ones that don't require a Christian faith, other ones that do require a Christian faith but just operate a little bit differently. But that's a great way to use as on top of having direct primary care, of having a health sharing network on top of it. So I'm big on trying to not just whine about Pfizer and all these big pharma things and oh they're so evil. Soed and I kind of talk about some of this in the meat section a little bit. It's good for us to point out some of those evils in the healthcare system, but don't just cry about it. Let's do something. So there are other alternatives out there to get you, I would argue, even better healthcare, but without having to do all the crazy things that the healthcare system makes you do. All that being said, I'm super excited to talk with Soad. You'll get to know her a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and talk with her over in the meat section. The meat section. We're excited to get started here in the meat section, and I have a special guest here today. So we have Soad Tabrizi. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she's licensed in 8 states, which is pretty impressive. She's licensed in California, Florida, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, Utah, Virginia, and West Virginia. She's worked in the mental health field for 15 years. She's a certified addiction specialist, Suicidologist provides holistic alternatives with oils and natural supplements. And I forgot to ask you to clarify this. I've heard this for many times, but is it Reiki? Reiki? I've never known how to pronounce that.
It's Reiki.